So we're going to debate the topic is physician-assisted suicide morally wrong?
Physician-assisted suicide is prescribing some sort of life-ending drug to a patient by a doctor, and this is like a pill. It's not getting an injection or nothing. It's just like a pill, and they decide when they want to.
Okay. I disagree with all this about the assisted suicide. There's a scenario where when I was little, this army guy came to our school and told us about how he would have to go and kill people in the war, and he said as soon as he killed people, he would just have it inside of him for the rest of his life. Each day he wakes up, he thinks about it. He's like, wow, I just killed someone. So I feel like doctors will be the same thing as that, because doctors are planning or giving them it's for example, if you give a kid if you give a kid his mom says, no, I don't want you to give you candy, and then someone else comes and gives him candy, that's helping him out get candy. So basically he's helping him out to kill himself, plan to kill himself, which I think is really bad, because I feel like this argument comes from the divine command theory, or I feel like which divine command theory is which says whatever God said is right. So since I'm from a Christian church, I've learned that whatever God says is His saying, which He knows is right. So there's one of the commandments that He said was that thou shalt not kill, which means you should never kill someone no matter what.
Hey, yeah, but if you're paralyzed from the neck down, or you've got terminal cancer, shouldn't the person be condemned to be? Could they just have to suffer the rest of their life?
But I mean, like how it said, you should not kill someone. If he wants him to kill himself, he can kill himself, but not someone else help him get killed. Because I feel like people that are like that, they should spend their time with their loved ones before they actually cause their death. It's better for them to spend time with their family the last few months or whichever time they have, instead of them killing them right away. Because it's just
Can I just say that there was a survey of 38 doctors, and more than half of them actually received comfort from carrying out the physician's assisted suicide, because they felt like they actually helped the patients in their lives in the way that the patients wished. So it's they helped them die dignitively instead of just dying by losing their mind because some terminal cancer. If there's no chance for them to come back, why not give them the choice to end it when they want to and however they want to, instead of just letting them live and suffer, because that's not fair.
Yeah, my grandfather has leukemia right now, so he's in the hospital. He'll probably be dead in 2 weeks. And we've seen it from the start, he's slowly wasting away. He looks like a skeleton right now. So I think if he were given that option for a physician assistant, he'd take it. He'd take it in a heartbeat, because he's miserable right now. The medication's not really working. He doesn't like taking all the medication they try to give him. He'll refuse it because he's like, it's not working. I'm going to die anyway.
And you guys and your family would support his decision if he made this, right?
Probably not.
Probably
They're
not.
more on the religious stance, but
Okay.
I agree that he should have that option because he's miserable.
I feel like someone being, that type of way, I feel like they don't think right. I feel like they're too worried about what they're suffering instead of what they're actually for example, when I had an accident a month ago, I feel like I wasn't thinking right after I had an accident. I was feeling scared and stuff.
Yeah.
You're not the person that you actually are when you're paralyzed, or I feel like most of your emotions affect your
Sid mind.
yeah, but overall, at the end of the day, you're probably gonna regret it one day that you killed yourself.
Yeah, but isn't it better to die dignified than die in pain and stretch that out over several months, years even?
Well, if we're talking about a physician-assisted suicide, that normally, the way that it's been interpreted to me, that these people have less than 6 months to live, and they're going to die maybe as wasting away, and should they not have the right to decide for themselves?
Well, I feel like if someone has that much time to live, I feel like they should be reminded of the positives of life and kind of live their life and do what they want to do up until that point.
Yeah, but what if they don't have that option? What if like it's a really fast progressing disease that they're gonna be in like constant pain, constantly suffering? Isn't it best to have like see their family do what they want, and before it gets really bad, where they're like bedridden?
Well, if someone, I feel like if, I don't agree with someone helping someone die, but if they want to die, then they should do it themselves, because I feel like it's wrong, because I feel like it's gonna weigh on their conscience, saying like, oh, I helped this person die, and I don't feel like it's right.
I have a question for y'all then. Alright, so you're saying it's okay for abortion to be allowed in the United States, but physicians assisted suicide is not. You have the right to decide if your unborn baby can live or not, but you can't decide if you live or not. That's not fair. Your dog gets hurt, your horse gets hurt, you know, and they don't have a good life. What do? We put them down because they don't have a good life. So why are we going to be humane for animals but inhumane for us humans?
Well, in most of these instances that we're talking about, it has to be self-administered, unless there's some, ruling that it can be done by the physician. The physician has to provide it.
Yeah, but they're
But-
not actually like
If the
shoving
physician
it down
does
your
it,
throat.
it's
Yeah,
just me.
but they may have to push
Yeah.
their own button or something.
Yeah.
I mean, but like I said, I mean, I feel like, I mean, it is right. I mean, they can't suffer. I mean, they don't want to suffer no more. But I feel like no one should help them like get killed. Like,
Yeah,
kill
I don't
themselves,
think
'cause
someone
that's-
should help them.
it's like I don't know how like each of one of y'all like have relation with God or stuff like that, religion and stuff like that. But I mean, what the Bible says is like it's what the Bible says.
Yeah.
If you kill someone, you'll find the consequences later on in life, in your afterlife. You never know. But I mean, like for example, me, I'm like, I go to church. I mean, that's something like I would never do. I would never help someone get like, oh, here, take this so you can like kill yourself. No, I just don't believe in that because I know if I do that, I'll probably take the blame. Like, oh, I'll be thinking about this every day and stuff like that. I'm just like,
Yeah. Well, not all doctors go into that certain field. The ones that do, they go in knowing what they're going to do.
And they're
Like-
not forced to do it. They have all rights, all choice to do it.
Yeah, they choose to go into that field. They know the consequences. They know what they're gonna do. They know the outcome. They willingly do it.
I mean, I guess they should know what maybe the consequences they have out their life. You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, no one knows the truth. I mean,
Yeah, could you say that killing and murder is different? Because when you bring
Death
up
penalty.
the Bible, you keep saying killing, but in the Bible it says murder, and to have murder is to hate someone in your heart. So, if you saw that differently, do you think it would change your perspective on it?
like murder, like what do you mean? Like just killing someone?
Like killing and murder is different. Like murder is like intentionally going out, I'm gonna stab you because you cheated on me type of deal. But killing somebody's like fighting for your country. You're killing somebody for
To protect like a larger.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's two different stories. I mean, I don't really know how to defend that.
Well, I mean,
I'm
there
not-
are like sayings really like where they go an eye for an eye and an arm for an arm. Like if someone cuts off somebody's arm, then that person that cut their arm off gets their arm cut off because they cut their arm. So it's just
There
it's
are
their punishment.
societies that practice that also, so.
That's like that one state. What is it? Where if someone kills somebody and they automatically get killed themselves, they automatically get on the chair.
Texas, probably.
I think it's Texas, yeah.
Well, I feel like even if your religion doesn't agree with this assisted suicide, and maybe you don't agree, and you want to keep them around as long as possible, but do you really want to keep them around? As you said that your grandfather that he might decide that for himself if he had that opportunity.
I don't know if he really knows of the option because I know nobody in my family will tell him of that option because they're against it. But I think if he were given it, he'd take it because he's miserable. He's in pain.
Well, some religions are, and most of them are usually against the end of life decision, but some will allow the removal of life support systems to allow natural death to occur. So it's kind of like, in a sense, it's the same thing, except you're just not giving them the dose, but you're taking away the means of staying somewhat alive.
Yeah, like I think of it, the way I think of it, are you like keeping them alive? Do you want to keep them alive for like them to make them to save them, or are you keeping them alive for you so you don't have to go through that? But you're gonna have to go through it anyway. So you can like see them go happy, healthy, content, or you can see them wasted away, miserable, constantly in pain, and they're just glad it's finally over.
Well, that's the way I see it, and if you give them the choice to die with dignity, rather than a lot of people who know, even if they're up and around, they know that they are going to have a miserable existence for the rest of their lives, and then they end up committing suicide on their own with a maybe horrible or messy death.
Can I share a story? There's actually this radio show host who talked about her husband. He had Parkinson's disease, and he was getting awful where he couldn't do anything for himself at all. And they didn't have the chance to have physicians-assisted suicide. And she said for him to go out that way was not able to do anything for himself was insufferable indignity. Her husband actually had to starve himself and deprive himself of food and water so he'd eventually die. So he went about the way y'all said about killing himself, but it was so inhumane. Like, he's already has to deal with Parkinson's disease, and now to kill himself, he has to deprive himself of like his basic needs.
Whereas if he had been able to avail himself of assisted suicide, then at whatever point he decided life was too much, then he could push the button,
Or take the pill.
take
Yeah.
the pill, whatever.
Mhm.
But I have a question, if you think it's morally right to do that, how come none of the states have, states agree with having assisted suicide in their, state? Because most of the people around, at least 18 states around the U.S., they argue about having assisted suicide or not, because it's wrong. If it was right, then they'll be like, oh, hey, it's good, just put it in the law, it's right.
Well, I think there's at least
Yeah.
3 states that have it legal?
There's European countries have it.
I know
legalized.
6 to 8 European countries do this all the time, and they have to have some way of it being by law. You can't have a Jack Kevorkian out here killing people, and he's in prison now for his gas mask type thing, and it was very humane, but I think he got a little carried away with who could legally be
Yeah.
killed.
So if someone wants to die, how do they go about that? Do they just tell the doctor and then sign a paper to agree with it?
No, there's
Or
a,
is it just they
there's-
just say, I want to die, and then they just help them?
no, there's a big process. They have to go through exams. They have to talk with the family, whoever's around, and they make sure they're mentally.
So they go through these
Able.
psychological evaluations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be at the beginning of the diagnosis. It wouldn't be mid, already they're halfway gone. It'd be
Yeah.
the very beginning.
It's not immediate, they don't say, oh, I'm ready to die. All right, let's get your pill. Like I said, they have to go through a bunch of stuff so they can actually say, yes, you're allowed to do this.
Yeah. Well, I think with your thing, you said, why isn't it legalized throughout? I think it's because of the issues with regulations with many things. Like Colorado, weed's legal. Here it's not.
California's legal with weed too. They have it everywhere.
And then some states have the death penalty. Is North Carolina have the death penalty?
I don't think so.
And also, like, abortion. Some people say abortion's wrong, some people say it's right. And
Yeah.
That's why it's a big argument. It's just assisted suicide is a big argument.
Yeah.
Some people are against it, some people are not.
I
That's
think-
why if it was right, everybody would agree with it. But since it's not right, there's arguments about it because they know it's not right. Because assisted suicide, for example.
Yeah.
If it was right, there would be an argument. Oh, here.
Yeah, I think it should be legalized, but I think the reason it's not is because all the regulations behind it. And then, the people that we have in office and stuff, I know they say we have a choice and we have a voice, but we don't.
And
It's up to them.
like you said, there's a time where you have to go through the process. Don't you think by that time the person dies slowly by that time, instead
Yeah.
of taking
I think
either way they're still gonna suffer. If they're suicide, they're gonna have to go through a process, which it might take a while. So
Yeah.
it's just better just live your life while you have it instead of
Well, I think the reason it's so long, the regulations and stuff are just so long and so drawn out, you can't say it was just a snap decision to do it. You have to go through it, so you're thinking about it as you fill it out. That way you can back out if you decide you don't want to do
And
it.
you get the pills, so they don't do it for you. So you
Yeah,
can back out
like it's
whenever.
not being forced upon you. You make that decision. You're thinking it through. You're going through all the steps to acquire it. It's your decision.
Do you feel that the legalized abortion runs under the same kind of rule?
The what?
Legalized abortion?
Yeah.
Because well, with the case that we have just recently had in the newspapers, and the case of the co-joined twins, they knew that they could never have a real life as we know it, being two children who can play and run about. But anyway, these parents decided that they could not do this, that they had to bring their children into life if that's the way it happened, and they would deal with it as it came along. Other parents may choose a different way, but it should be their choice.
Yeah, like that's what I think it falls under. 'Cause I guess they all fall under the same thing. Someone's helping you into life, but it's still your decision. It's still your body, your physical. Despite your religious reasons and your family and friends and what they think, it's still your choice. It's still your body. It's not theirs. They can give their opinion, but it's still your final choice, your final decision to make that choice.
There's another thing we haven't really talked about. It's kind of harsh to talk about, but the cost of someone dying. Someone staying in that hospital nonstop for months. And I mean, we've had to go through this with my own family. Like, we had to go through all of it. I wouldn't say I would pay to, end it quicker or nothing, but it was crazy how much money. It was like $50,000 to $100,000 just for
Yeah.
a couple months.
A visit is crazy. Just like a visit is crazy. Like my sister, she went to the hospital because her chest was hurting, and just the visit was like $1,500, I think, or $1,200.
Yeah.
It was like, it's crazy.
Yeah, like my grandmother died my senior year of high school, and I've been out for like 3 years now, and we're still getting bills.
Mhm. And like, think about it, the terminally ill patients, like, they're sitting there thinking about the bills that their family's gonna have to pay, and they're gonna feel bad about it. Even though, like, once they're done, they don't have to worry about it no more. Like, their family's still worrying about it. It's a serious financial burden. I'm not saying, end their life sooner because of money, but it is a pro when that person is willing.
It's a
and
consideration, certainly.
Yeah.
And it should be when the person wants it to go ahead and die with dignity rather than laying there just racking up bills.
Yeah, like, well, you know the medication's not gonna work. You know you're gonna die. You know you're not leaving the hospital.
They're just making you comfortable.
And sometimes not even that. Some situations, you can't even be comfortable.
No, some hospitals out there are awful. Like they're
Very, very bad. Especially when people are downgraded to a nursing home where they have to live their final days. And
That's why our grandmother ended up, because we didn't have the time to take care of her. We all worked and stuff. She ended up one of those, and it was pricing to go. She didn't like it.
And some are really bad.
Yeah.
I've been to a few who are really bad.
All right, guys, do we have any ending notes to top this debate off?
Well, I can talk about the show. Well, there's a show that's called How to Get Away with Murder, and there's a woman, the main character, her name is Annalise Keating, and she was having an affair with this cop. And the cop's wife, she was dying in the hospital. She wasn't getting any better, and she was tired of staring at all like the four walls in there. And Annalise went to visit her, and she was like, the wife was like, I know who you are. I know what role you play in my husband's life, and I know I'm not getting any better, and I'm tired of seeing him seeing me like this. So she asked her to get her these pills so that she could basically end her life, and Annalise didn't agree with it. She didn't want to have that burden, and she kept begging her. So eventually, after the visits, Annalise came back and gave her the pills, and about, I think, like 2 weeks later, she ended up dying. And on the papers, it showed the pills, and her husband ended up finding out. And the cop was like mad at Annalise. He didn't agree with it.
So did she feel bad about it afterwards?
Yeah, she felt bad afterwards. She ended up spiraling. She ended up like spiraling from that and other problems from losing her license and all the drama that ended up happening. And she ended up spiraling to be like an alcoholic. She was drinking. She was like showing up to different places drunk. She was having hangovers. She didn't go to work. And she ended up having to do like the AA classes and all that. And she ended up, I think she ended up going to jail. I don't know. I think so.
Oh, man.
Well, there's this philosophy of suicide. Those in favor of suicide as a personal choice reject the thought that suicide is always or usually irrational, but instead a solution to a real problem, a line of last resort that can legitimately be taken when the alternative is considered worse. They believe that no being should be made to suffer unnecessarily, and suicide provides an escape from suffering.
I feel like God has a plan, he knows why he does it.
Yeah, but why suffer? Why
I
did you
mean, I'm
suffer?
just saying,
Yeah.
God has a plan, and for the people that help people kill.
So life, their choice, they're right. Their life, they're right.
Every person knows what they're doing,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, I feel like there are consequences behind it.
Yeah, I guess I can see why you would go for like guidance and stuff, but I think in the end it's still your choice. You should have that right.